Welcome to the Mind Body Business Show. The 3 keys to your success is just moments away. Here's your host, Brian Kelly.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mind Body Business Show. Oh my goodness, we have yet another phenomenal guest expert coming on with us this evening in just a few minutes. His name is Bruce Bautch, and he is an amazing, amazing young man who is certified in an arena that is mind-blowing. It's going to be amazing. You will love listening to this gentleman and the value he brings to the show. And I'm being coy on purpose, yes, because I want you to stick on and be here when Bruce comes on. And by the way, do stay on to the end, because I've done many of these shows with many guest experts, and each and every time there are golden nuggets being dropped throughout the show. You never know when they're going to come. You just don't want to miss it. So stick on to the end. The Mind Body Business Show. What is that all about? Real briefly, in my now 55 years on this planet, basically in the last 10 years, I began focusing on just successful people, not worrying about those who are not making it, just successful people. And I began getting mentors, like actual people, also mentors from books, authors, reading books, people I met in person, people I have never met, and I would study them over the past decade or so. And what I started recognizing and realizing is that in all of these successful people, certain patterns started emerging. And there were 3 of them that really stood out. And you may have guessed by now what those are. That's right. Mind, which is mindset. They all had a very, very powerful, flexible mindset, very serving to them. And body, that literally is they took care of their body, both nutritionally and by exercise. And by exercise, I'm not saying that they had to exercise every single day for 2 hours a day. They just did it on a regular basis, 2 to 3 times a week. Everyone is different in how they react to physical exercise, but they did do it on a regular basis, and they were always taking care of themselves in both of those manners. And then there's business. I mean, that is a big one. It is a multifaceted element. And by that, I mean, there's sales, there's marketing, there's team building, there's leadership, there's systemizing. I mean, the list goes on. And the skill sets required to succeed in business are wide and varied, as those topics I just brought up, plus many more. The good news with business is that for those who were successful, the one key skill set that they learned was leadership, which enabled them to leverage themselves, to leverage off of others' knowledge and skill sets, to bring those in that have the skills that they might not have. Because no one person, I don't think, could actually handle all of them and be a solopreneur and have a successful, thriving, scaling business. And so the Mind Body Business Show is a show by entrepreneurs for entrepreneurs. And we always have and bring on the best of the best, the successful entrepreneurs who are really in this as a business, not just a hobby, who are serious about it, who bring value from their experience of their success. And so I'm very excited about that. And in line with success, another big trait with successful entrepreneurs is, to a person, they are all very avid readers. And with that, I'd like to segue real briefly into a quick segment I like to call affectionately Bookmarks.
Bookmarks. Born to read. Bookmarks. Ready, steady, read. Bookmarks. Brought to you by reachyourpeaklibrary.com.
Yes, there you see it, reachyourpeaklibrary.com. And a real quick note that will help you immensely, not just tonight, but going forward when you go and watch other seminars, webinars, either in person, online. And that is stay in the room. Stay in the room. And by that here, I mean, when you see resources such as reachyourpeaklibrary.com, just avoid the distraction of actually typing it in and going to look at it while the show is running. In fact, instead, a better method at this moment would be take out that really old-fashioned thing called paper and that writing instrument. If you can remember what that looks and feels like, it's a pen, and actually write these things down and keep the video up and running. And if you're listening to the podcast afterward, then also, of course, keep the audio running and just write down your notes. And the thing is if you're distracted in your attention, I would just hate for you to miss that one golden nugget that Bruce is giving you at that very moment. I've seen this happen many times in the seminar industry, speaking from stage, seeing someone leave the room, and then by the time they come back, I already know that we just dropped a golden mountain on them and they missed it. And I feel bad for them, but we tell everyone now, please stay with us, stay in the room, take notes, take a lot of notes. This is a phenomenal show because of the guest experts, not because of me. They bring supreme value. So back to reachyourpeaklibrary.com. One of the things I did not read very much until about a decade ago. Everything goes back to that decade. And I learned to read, or decided to read, after working with my mentor, who was just on our show a couple weeks ago, Mel Cutler. And I won't go through the whole story, but he really inspired me to start reading. And I learned that I could read by listening to books, which was new to me at that time. This was going back some time ago. And I thought, wow, when I read a physical book, my eyes get strained, I get tired, I can't go very long and keep my attention span going. Then I started listening to books and I said, oh my goodness, this is amazing. And so I began listening to books voraciously. And so this is literally a compilation of books that I personally have read, every single one of them. There's actually quite a few more that are not yet in this list. And there are quite a few more that aren't here because they had no impact or did not have big enough impact for me to add to this list. So what this is a list of vetted books by one successful entrepreneur that you can at least trust in the fact that it may, it'll be less probable of being a waste of your time. That's the whole reason I put this together, is to help give you a filtered list of phenomenal books that are just game changers and helps in so many ways. You can see as we go down and scroll down the list, there's just a gold mine worth of reading material there. And speaking of gold mine, we have a gentleman that's about to come on who by himself is a gold mine, because you're going to love listening to this guy, getting to know him. So I think it's time we bring him on. What do you think? Yeah, let's do it. Let's bring on Mr. Bruce Bautch. Here we go.
It's time for the Guest Expert Spotlight. Savvy, skillful, professional, adept, trained, big league, qualified.
And there he is, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, it is the one and the only Bruce Bautch. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm great, Brian. How are you tonight?
I am so excited to get back at it. I took a week off, had a wonderful vacation with my wife. And, it's funny when you go on vacation and you're an entrepreneur who loves what you get to do, you can't wait to get back to it. And that's the way I am. I love it. I'm glad to be here with you. I appreciate you for being flexible. We had to move your date back because of my last minute travel exploits. And that's another attribute of very successful entrepreneurs in its own right, is flexibility. And before I go on and actually formally introduce you, Bruce, I want to remind everybody that's watching this live, on YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, LinkedIn, any of those and more, that stay on with us to the end, and you will get the opportunity to win. Yes, we give away prizes, a 5-night stay at a 5-star luxury resort in Mexico, or another resort of your choosing that's in a list. And I'll tell you this, this is not one of those cheesy, pull you in, get you there, sit you down, and then send you through half a day of timeshare pitch. Nope, none of that. It is 100% legit. And the reason I know that is because the people who have sponsored that, my good friends at powertexting.com, they themselves have actually tested the actual prize, the product, 3 times. And each and every time they came back and said, we were treated as if we were a full paying guest. In other words, they knew no different. You just show up. Wow. And so stay on to the end and we will give that away. We give one away every single show. And then, there might be another gift that's going to be given away at that same time by somebody. I'm not going to name names. There's a guy, sitting right over here to my left, to your right on the screen. If you're watching in podcast, he's there. Let's bring him on officially. Let's do that. Bruce Bautch is dedicated to making business leaders succeed by highlighting clarity and purpose in all facets of business operations. Bruce specializes in process improvement, the voice of the customer, and leader development, and has been successful by making the complex seem simple. I love this part. I can't wait to dig into this part. Bruce is a certified public accountant. That's pretty impressive. And a certified business coach with FocalPoint Coaching and Training. And we'll get into that some more during this show as well. I'm very intrigued by that. He lives in southeastern Wisconsin. He is a retired Army engineer officer. Yes, thank you so much for your service, where he was consistently promoted ahead of his peers. So that tells you, just these few words right here tell you a lot about this man without even him saying much yet. We're going to give him a chance. Don't worry. He's going to do most of the talking. He fine-tuned his coaching and project management skills through command and staff assignments. He has spent over 25 years coaching business leaders, navigate change management, optimizing vendor contracts and relationships, and analyzing financial and performance metrics. That is amazing. Now, officially, Bruce Bautch, welcome to the Mind Body Business Show.
Thank you, Brian.
So there is one thing I love getting these bios, from the guest speakers that come up, because they have so much incredible information. Yours in particular was concise, to the point, and just rich, full of, I feel like I know you from the surface level, if you will. And what I love to do is one of the things is I'm extremely curious, always curious about what actually makes successful people just that, successful. And what I mean by that is more on a personal basis, like what is going on in that beautiful brain of Bruce Bautch's right there, over there. What is going on in that beautiful brain of his that actually takes him to the level of success that he is currently experiencing. And so if you don't mind, Bruce, I'd like to actually do that with you and find out, and don't worry, we're not digging into like deep personal things. It's just, I want to understand how your brain works that got you to where you are. And every other guest expert that's come on, it's been amazing to find out what gets people rolling. And
Right.
For you, so when you get up, if I know the way I am, when I get up, I'm a little groggy. I'm not like up and at 'em. Some people do. For me, I got to get up and kind of dust off the cobwebs for just a few seconds and swing the feet over the bed. The feet hit the floor. Then I start to wake up and realize there's another day dawning. And for you, Bruce, what is it at that moment when you start coming to your senses that is driving you, that motivational factor or factors that say, another day is ahead. I can't wait. What is it for you?
Well, Brian, it's really the idea that it's another chance for me to go out there and meet with people, help people. I love starting off the day by either a good walk or a run. I listen to a lot of podcasts. That gets me flowing and getting my juices going early in the morning. I so enjoy listening and learning, not only for myself, but how I can apply the knowledge I'm learning to my clients and make sure that they get the best out of their time with me.
And that's what I love about being able to do this show, is that is a very common thread that successful entrepreneurs always seem to follow this one thing, and that is helping other people, serving people. When you are servant-based, and that's the first and foremost thing in your mind, versus I'm out to make another buck.
Right.
That is truly when the success happens. That's when it really starts to snowball, if you will, and gain momentum. And not really until then. And the thing is, it's we're not here to shame anybody, because every single person, at least I will put myself in that category, starts that way. We're in a more of a point of scarcity than we are of abundance, because we haven't made the money yet. We're just starting. So money is more on the forefront in the beginning. And that's why it's just vital to get to that attitude of servant. Is it servanthood? I don't know the right word. Yeah. As soon as you possibly can, for everyone that's out there, not to Bruce, he's done it. Get to there as soon as you possibly can, so you can achieve the same level of success that Bruce has. And that's what we want for you. And that's what Bruce wants for you. You can tell he's a guy who loves people. And I got a good friend on here. Richard Barrier said, duck for those golden nuggets. And he also was chiming in, the body physically supports the brain, therefore the mind. Yes, therefore the mind. Very astute. Richard and I both learned neuro-linguistic programming about the same time through the same source, my mentor, Mel Cutler. And then, I love you too, Richard. Love you. And we have Boudica from my hometown. Hey, Brian Kelly. He actually took some of my great photos. I call them great. Other people call them great. I don't call them great because they have my mug on them. I don't like seeing my own mug that much. So that's fantastic. Bruce, very, very similar to other successful entrepreneurs, and I stress the word successful, is the servant attitude and mindset. And in the beginning, I was talking about one of those attributes of successful entrepreneurs were that they became voracious readers. They read a lot, avid readers. They just were continually feeding the brain. So I'm guessing I know the answer to this question already, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Would you consider yourself to be an avid reader? And knowing that the answer is going to be yes, what book has really stood out to you the most all the way up till now? I mean, looking back, what is the most recent one that you can bring up that says had a major impact on you personally?
Yes, I'm an avid reader. One of them is called The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. And I actually read that at the same time one of my clients was reading that book as well. And one of the things in there is to read 10 pages of a professional development book every day. And I made that a personal habit. And that's one of the habits I track on my app on my phone, is that I read at least 10 pages. And many times it's more than that, but it's something that when I go for my run in the morning and I get back, and I usually sit down with my cup of coffee and I try and read before I start the day. If not, sometimes it's right before I go to bed. I read those 10 pages just to make sure I get those in, because by the end of the year, you can read 10 books. And the book I just finished right now is First Things First. And it's amazing. It's an older book, but the items and the subjects are still so important and applicable today. And we'll talk about it later, about the big rocks and making sure that you're identifying those important things and getting those on your calendar and making sure that they take up the majority of your time, and let all those other little things kind of fill in around the sides. So yes, I'm an avid reader. The Slight Edge was a big motivator for me, as well as another one called The Happiness Advantage by Sean Archer. That book is just amazing, and it's got the smiley face on it, and really good. Remember to make people happy, and the sense of humor goes a long way as well.
Well, I can say personally, thank you for all that, because I wrote them all down. I got the titles anyway. I'm not sure I got all the authors right, but I'll find them. And here's what I want to put out to everyone that's watching and listening. First of all, none of those three are on my reachyourpeaklibrary.com list, which is fine. They will be soon, because I'm going to, as soon as this show is over, this is what happens. It's about taking action.
Right.
And all three of those books he mentioned, I'm going on to Audible and I'm going to purchase them and have them downloaded and ready on my phone, whether I'm online or offline. They will be ready to read. And so thank you for that. I mean, three of them. I'm used to hearing one. And so you just gave us a gift already.
And that Slight Edge one is just a game changer for people that have a hard time and they're worried about biting off a big project. Don't try and bite it off all at once. It really talks about making a little bit of progress every day, whether it's a diet, whether it's an exercise program, whether it's a new sales project you're working on. Don't try and bite it all off right away. You're just going to get discouraged, and keep on working at it and keep on maintaining the momentum. And once you get the momentum rolling, you're going to go a little bit faster.
That's cool, because there's such a tight correlation between what you just talked about and another book by a gentleman I know you know, because you're in his organization, Brian Tracy.
Yes.
And the book is called Eat That Frog.
Yes.
And it's about, not just taking small bites and chunks, but it's taking the most arduous task, the one that you just dread the most, and getting it over with first.
Right.
So, and that's a perfect segue. Bruce, if you wouldn't mind, I would love to hear about your involvement in this organization. What, you've been up to it. You've been doing this for over 2 years now with this particular organization.
Correct.
And maybe explain what the organization does and what you'd personally do for business owners and what results you've had thus far. I would love to hear about that.
Sure. I bought a franchise called FocalPoint Business Coaching and Training, and that's Brian Tracy's. It's powered by Brian Tracy. And basically what I bought was the curriculum. And business owners that follow the curriculum get results. And it all starts with clarity. And there's a whole module, I think it's got about 12 or 13 lessons, really understanding what are your strengths, what are your areas that you need to work on, how do you leverage those strengths, who are your customers, understanding your product, understanding your numbers and your metrics. And then what I do that's a little bit different is at the end of that clarity module, I'll put together a business plan with the business owner, and we put up together a 5-year business plan. And we put together some targets for revenue growth, and then some other items where if they want to add another location, they want to start working less hours, There's also some personal things in there. There could be weight loss goals in there. There could be goals for going on a vacation. My one client had a 5-year goal to buy his dream house. So we work on a 5-year business plan after that clarity, really understanding your business. And then we move on to something called effectiveness. And that's where we get into the Brian Tracy, eat that frog, understanding how to use your calendar as a tool versus a crutch, and taking those big items and getting those scheduled on that calendar. And we look at delegating. And are you doing the most important things first? And are you focusing on those 80% of the 20% of the things that really bring you 80% of the results? After that, we go into grow your business, where we look at prospecting and referrals and the closing process and the sales process. Look at your offers and your marketing. We do superior selling skills, where we look at the objections that a potential customer has and how to overcome those objections. So they're all very modular, and we meet weekly with my business clients. And, they basically take about an hour to go through the modules, and they answer some really tough questions at the end of the modules. And then when we meet the following week, we discuss the module maybe for about 10, 15 minutes, and then we jump into what's happening in their business and looking at their current metrics. One of the things I do with my clients is, how many new customers did you have over the last week? Where did they come from? Okay, if they're up, why are they up? Referrals. Referrals are a big, big business impact for most of my clients. And so making sure that they're rewarding the people that are referring them business, as well as putting it out there that, hey, I'm open to referrals, and putting things on their Facebook pages or their LinkedIn accounts and asking for those referrals, because sometimes it's just a matter of asking. And then the last module with the Brian Tracy is all about leadership, and really looking back and saying, okay, are you developing that second tier of leadership so that you don't always have to be the one making all the decisions? That's probably one of the top concerns I have with business owners, is they say that they have to be involved in every business decision. And when I ask them to look into why that is, it's usually something that they're doing. They're either putting some kind of criteria that they have to approve every purchase or budget or hire. And I ask why. And most of the time, it's just that they're just not comfortable letting go. So we work a lot on delegating and loosening those grips a little bit so that they can let their second line leaders develop and grow, so that they can step a little bit away from their business. So the business clients that I've had that actually follow the curriculum, and again, having my accountability, knowing that I'm coming back every week, is really something that keeps pushing them to finish what they said that they would do that week. And I mean, most of these businesses know what they need to do, but it's just really having the structure in place so that they can see those improvements.
Well, everyone, that is our show. Everything in 5 minutes. That was truly phenomenal, Bruce. Truly. Wow. I mean, I have a writer's cramp, and I'm running this show, and I'll show you that, I'm not just preaching to the choir here. I'm actually a product of the product. I take notes myself. And awesome. My gosh, that is so comprehensive, so complete, every aspect of a business from beginning to end. I mean, from starting a business plan to sales, to growing your business, to leadership, which is really a big part of growing business, to delegate. And then that one word you hit on that you and I were talking about right before the show, that is probably, if not it is one of the most important aspects of any successful person. And that is, we'll come back to that after the break. No, I'm kidding. That word. And that's actually
accountability.
Yes. But that word is accountability. And I heard you say that, and that is so true. And we were talking, Bruce, before the show, it doesn't matter what you're in, what type of business, what type of your personal relationships. If you're in sports, it doesn't matter. If you don't have accountability, it's very difficult for you to improve and to continue to succeed at a greater and greater level. Self-accountability can work for those who have extreme self-discipline, but there isn't a successful person on the planet that did not have coaching at some point, and mentorship and accountability as a result. And so I really wanted to hammer that one hard home for the fact of, if you don't have somebody like Bruce in your corner, a coach, a mentor, an accountability partner, then consider reaching out to him. And we have another almost 40 minutes to go here in this show, so you can get to know him even more and I already know, like, and trust him, and I've just met him myself a half hour before we started. And I can tell that his heart's in the right place and that he has what is necessary to help you because he has actual results to prove it. And everything he said, I was just getting excited. I was really getting excited.
One of the other things is I basically become a confident. A lot of times business owners don't have someone to turn to when they have an issue with an employee or a decision about making a big purchase. And I have business owners that tell me more than they tell their spouse regarding if they're thinking of selling their business or if they're thinking of moving into a different product or having some employee issues. So it's kind of interesting because they really do open up to me very quickly.
Wow. So you're like the focal point psychiatrist too.
It's not just business. I mean, one of the very first modules I go over is we look at their how would they rate their family life? How would they rate their fitness? How would they rate their career? And then how would they rate their financial independence? And they try and make a diamond. And the idea is that you shouldn't be over leveraging your business and working on your business at the expense of your family or your fitness. And so many business owners get so dragged in where they're working, 12 to 14 hours a day in and day out, and not spending the time with their families. Exactly. So one of the first things we do is we have them rate 1 to 10, each one of those elements, and we try and map a diamond. And then we actually come up with plans on how they're going to improve that score. And we go back to that after about 3 months, we'll go back and see, are you making progress?
So many things that you said just now and before that I just love. And the 5-year business plan, you talked about plan several times just a second ago. To be able to, how many people do that? Right. I know you know the answer to that is probably zero until they come to see someone like you. Right. And that's why they come to see you, which is fantastic because, being an entrepreneur requires more than, as I opened up with, is it requires many different skill sets. Mm-hmm. The good news is they don't all have to be yours. Right. Leverage someone like Bruce. That's exactly what I was saying in the very beginning of the show is you don't have to be the one that knows everything. You can't. You shouldn't be. Don't strive to. Be aware of them. Maybe learn a little bit about each thing. You are experts in certain areas, and those are your core competencies. Stick with those and delegate the rest. That was the hardest lesson I had to learn, Bruce. I had a guy, a really good friend of mine, who kept hammering that home, and I kept resisting. Yeah, but I need to do all these. But Brian, that's not your core competency. Yeah, but I need to. Yeah, but Brian, I kept struggling, and finally, long after I got the advice, I finally, the crack through the skull, the thick skull occurred, and oh man, now I have a team, and it's so much. It's glorious now. It's glorious.
It's a very common problem, trying to do way too much by yourself.
It is, and I think most people start out that way, as solopreneurs, right? And, a lot of us just get to that point out of absolute sheer need. It's like, I'm burning out. I can't do this anymore. I need help. Somebody help me to find help and then how to manage and lead them. And by then, sometimes it might be a little too late. So think about it the moment you start your business. For those of you watching and listening, if you have not yet started it, or if you just have started it, have that in your mental bank to say, I'm going to do that sooner rather than later, and start looking for resources. And both Bruce and I can help you in that regard, to help you to get the help you need and not break your bank. And in fact, the thing is, you're going to spend money to get people to help you. The amount of money you're going to save by the fact that they're doing all this stuff you used to do, and you're going to get things done quicker, you're going to actually make more money, even though you're spending more money up front.
Exactly. It's an investment. It really is an investment.
Great way to put it. Perfect. It's almost like you know what you're talking about. And I'm so joking. I know you do. Yes. And so you've touched on this as well. And it's beautiful because it's one of the key elements of this show and successful people. And that is our bodies. And so for you, Bruce, would you think, or would you consider physical fitness to be very important, number one? And do you find it to be important in your business and your personal life, or maybe one or the other?
Oh, it's very important in my business because people kind of look up to me, and I think that I'm a role model. And if I preach about discipline and preach about keeping a schedule and preach about putting things in your calendar like exercise, I have to live the talk. And I'm not a stud by any means of the definition, but I walk a lot, I work out, I run, and watch what I eat. I still like the sweets every once in a while and still have a Miller beer every once in a while. But it's very important to me to make sure that I can be an example for my clients and my family so that they know that I take care of myself and I walk the talk.
And that's so important. And we were kind of touching on that earlier, and you had a great metaphor. It's like if you're going to see a dentist and you've not met this dentist yet and you're looking for one, and you actually greet this dentist in person and he smiles and his teeth are all crooked, yellow, and cavity ridden, are you going to want to do business with that individual? And that's taking it to an extreme. But the thing is, you are literally a walking billboard of what you represent.
Exactly.
And so people the first thing they do is they see you, then they might hear you or read your written word. But the first thing everyone looks for everywhere you go, Facebook pictures, it doesn't matter. Right. I want to see what this person looks like.
Yep.
Do they take care of themselves? There's so much judgment going on the first, less than 10 seconds. Are you representing yourself, your business, and your clients in the way you want to? And I'm not here to say you're doing a bad job or no. It's just, this is opportunity to improve. And I'm myself, I can improve right now. I can always improve.
I'm always, especially this time of the year here in Wisconsin when it's cold out and we kind of pack on a few extra pounds. Now's the time to start saying, I got to start shedding these pounds because I track what I eat right now and I track my steps. That's something I've been doing. I think I missed twice this year that I haven't hit my 10,000 step mark. And once it was because my watch broke, but it's something very important to me that I follow those habits that I talk about with my clients.
So again, everyone watching and listening, this is a product of the product. He walks the walk, doesn't just talk the talk. He's not perfect. He just said it. Nor am I, nor is anybody on the planet. In my opinion, only one ever walked this planet that ever could claim perfection. And there never will be another. And so it's okay to strive for perfection and to look for other people who have the qualities you're looking for, but recognize, please, that you will not find perfection, but you will find those who represent themselves the way they should, who basically they practice what they preach, in other words. And unfortunately, all too often, that's not the case. You'll find those. And so be sure to do your diligence to research. Do it with Bruce. Do it with me. Look at our Facebook. Look at LinkedIn. Look at every place you can find us. Search us out. And I do this. I did this with Bruce before he came on the show. I kid you not. Before I said, yes, I want you on my show, when he reached out and filled out this application process, probably a year ago, it seems like now.
It was a while ago.
Yeah. So I do that because, even though this show is about Bruce tonight, what he brings to the table also reflects upon me. And then, of course, my business as well. So be very careful and cautious with your reputation. That's a huge, huge thing. Right. Do you guys cover anything about reputation management in the FocalPoint series at all? It just hit me. I wonder if that's part of that, because it seems like you got everything else.
not specifically reputation, but we do talk a lot about the whole marketing and perceptions and making sure that you're branding. Like, I don't handle branding, but I recommend someone that if their brands are all over the place, like some businesses have different logos on their one website and something else on Facebook and something else on their sign in front of their building, that kind of stuff, but not too much with the reputation.
Except I will interject that indirectly, I think you do, because we were talking about that and you were telling me about a acquaintance of yours, a client of yours, where you actually were coaching that person to look more the part that he was a professional in, which literally is helping him with his reputation management, just indirectly.
Correct.
And so I think Bruce is the full package here for any small business. Is that your target market, or what is
primarily 10 million to 15 million is ideal, but I help out a few that are starting out. I enjoy that a lot. They have a lot more energy, it seems, and they just they have a lot more skin in the game at that point, because they really are watching every dollar. And being an accounting background, I can help them out with their leases and looking at, what are you paying for your lease? What should you be getting for your lease? Why are you getting charged these extra common area maintenance fees? Was the latest one. So I can help. And the other big thing is I can help them dig down. We look at credit card statements. Do you realize how many reoccurring charges you have month after month after month? Do you really need 2 subscriptions to Audible? Who's using these Audible subscriptions? Bank service fees, insurance premiums, looking at all those things. The one that's been big lately is fax lines. People pay for 2-3 fax lines. They haven't gotten a fax probably for a year, and they're paying $39.99 per line per month. So, I mean, we can really, really drill down to save some money pretty quickly for business owners.
Wow, that's phenomenal. Phenomenal. So we talked about, or maybe I've hit on it more than you, like directly, about skill sets that are required to be a successful entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
And the good news is you don't have to be armed and loaded with all of them right out of the chute. Really, nobody is. It's just learn and really hone in your core competency skills, like we said, and then delegate the rest as you can. But for you, Bruce, now having gone down this path, I mean, 25 years of experience in different areas. So right then and there, you're a wealth of knowledge. In that time up till now, there are still certain skill sets we personally need to acquire, to have, to hone and perfect as much as we can. If you were to be able to come up with just three of the top skills that currently, you don't have to say back in the day, but you can say right now, where you're at in your business today, what are the top 3 skills that you find the most important for you to maintain your success and continue to increase your success as an entrepreneur?
Well, one of the first ones is humility. I mean,
wow.
I really learned from my mistakes, and you're going to make mistakes, and being able to get up the next day and keep on trying. I never did sales before 2.5 years ago. I did sales support, and I started out right out of the bat really, really good. I mean, I was getting probably about a 90% closure rate, and then all of a sudden it backed down a little bit, and I wasn't getting as many clients that I was presenting to, and I had to really look at my process. And what happened is I made it more complicated than it really needed to be. When I kept it simple, and I didn't hold anything back, but I just was really simple, and I didn't get into all the details about extra hours and extra time and travel and print and all these things. When I kept it really simple, I was closing a lot higher percentages. So I had to look at, what did I change? What did I do different? And there's some humility in that, and saying, you know what, I'm not perfect. And in fact, I went backwards instead of forward with that. The other thing is, like we talked about before, is accountability. We have various mentorships or masterminds within the FocalPoint community. There's about 450 coaches, and we help keep each other accountable. Are we making sure that we are focusing on making sure that our clients not only are benefiting themselves, but their communities and their families and their employees, and that there's this ripple effect of, yes, we're helping the business owner, but it should be more than just that one person. So the accountability behind that. And then that third thing is trust. You really have to learn the trust in order to be able to delegate and not do everything yourself. Any successful business person that tries to do everything themselves is just going to be burnt out, and they're going to have one of those other areas of their life that's going to be out of balance. Either they're not going to be spending the time with their family, or their weight is going to be over, or their overall fitness is probably not going to be where it needs to be. So it's very important to have that balance and be able to trust somebody to take some of that load off of their shoulders. So really, it was humility, trust, and accountability.
Yeah, those are 3 big ones. Especially humility and trust. I liken those to one word called ego. Yes. And letting go of one's ego. And that is so key in leadership. My gosh. I mean, if you have an ego and you're trying to be a leader, it's going to be a tough road, in my humble opinion, because you need to let go, like you're saying, Bruce, and let others make decisions.
Right.
And that was something, fortunately, I learned at a deep level by having a team of revolving apprentices, because they would only come on for 90 days and then they're gone forever. And I learned a system. I basically built a system to enhance and learn how to become a leader quicker, because they're going to be gone soon.
Right.
And what were those things that really enabled things to move smoother? And that was to give them basic guidance, If I needed something done graphically, I'd say just stick to the brand. And here are the logos, here's the colors, and then go pick a quote out of a previous show, whatever stands out to you. I care, but I'm not going to micromanage you. And once I did that, oh my gosh, it not only was my ego taking a back seat, but I felt great because the stress level was down there. I didn't micromanage. I wasn't checking every dotted I and crossed T that they were putting up. Sometimes there were misspellings, and I'd go back and I would just tell them, look, it was a mistake that time. I'm not going to beat you up. I never do. And I'm not going to tell you go back and correct it. Just don't, just be more prudent on the next one. Now with these are apprentices that get paid zero. So with paid employees, I'd probably be a little bit more stringent and say, yeah, please go fix it. But it's just about learning how to let things go more and be less of a perfectionist. And you'll find you're so much more productive. You're so much more happy. Your business thrives more. It's just amazing what that one little shift does.
Right. And
it's phenomenal. I just love it. So you are a very successful gentleman. You're an accountant. You were in the Army. You're an Army engineer, which I love that because I'm kind of a geek. So that may or may not fit. I don't know, but you're in the Army. That's tougher than a geek by far.
We blew things up and built roads and bridges and stuff like that. It wasn't the engineering, mechanical, or very technical. We could build a building. We could wire. I had electricians, plumbers, concrete guys, heavy equipment operators. But the fun stuff was blowing stuff up.
Yeah. When you said that, I was like, I didn't hear a thing you said after that. Yeah, let's go blow stuff up. What?
Yep.
That's the total 10-year-old boy's dream is to just blow stuff up. And
the most stressful job in the Army is being a range officer for a demo range when you're blowing things up on a range with live demo. That is crazy.
That would be fun. There's probably a metaphor we can apply to the business world from that, I'm sure.
Probably, yes.
Let's see. So there are many people out there. You mentioned that you do also like to work with startups. For them, what would you say are a few key elements that they would need for starting and running a successful business at that point where they're just getting ready to start? What is it that is core to their success in the very beginning?
In the very beginning is building that network. Even before you launch that business, build that network, get involved with your chambers, find those key members in your community that are going to be your partners going forward. You need insurance, you need accountants, you need legal documents. Make sure that you vet your partners out and have good people on your team early on. And yes, it's going to cost you some money. You can't do everything yourself. And make sure that you are visible in your community, that you're involved with either a Lions Club or a Rotary or get involved. You just can't walk into a community or step into a community and expect to be successful. It's about relationships and really understanding the needs of your customers. What are your customers' needs? What are their wants and desires? And how are you going to meet those? And how are you going to be different? We have a lot of a certain specialty in this area. I'll just say we have a lot of chiropractors in this area. So one of the things I work with my clients on is how can you be a little bit different with your clients and making sure that they're meeting their needs and they're exceeding expectations. So really diving down and understanding who is my core customer, who is that avatar, who's my ideal customer, and how can I make sure that everything I'm doing is to meet their needs and go beyond what their expectations are. If they do that, everything else will kind of roll into place.
You're amazing, Bruce. You truly are. I mean, my gosh, this one show is like a culmination of a total of 5 others in value and great tips. As soon as you said out of the gate, build a network, I was like, that's it. That's the answer, because I preach it all the time too. It's like I put it into a phrase where I just say, just show up.
Right.
And, to networking events, to seminars. Here's the thing. If you don't have a brick and mortar and you're not reliant upon your location, you don't have to network in your community necessarily all the time. No. You can branch out and network. And this is something I love to do. I'm from California, Southern California. I've gone to Vegas and Florida and other places to network. And the interesting thing is, Bruce, this is so funny. Entrepreneurs are like a herd of wolves all chasing a piece of meat. And that same herd you find everywhere you go, no matter where it is, in the US, sometimes outside of the US. And you're like, hey, I just saw you across the country 2 months ago. How'd you get here? Where are you from? And that's the beautiful thing. It's like a family, a roving family, where you each help each other. And I have found what you said to be absolutely true, Bruce, is when you do show up and you network, you talk, you provide value, you serve. You don't just go there to say, I sell and this is what I do. You learn how to network. There are skills in that as well. Those are easy to learn.
Right.
And I've found that I've made more powerful relationships from that alone than all of the automation things. Automation is awesome, but relationship building is probably the most important, like you said. Yep. And it doesn't mean you have to physically be everywhere. Like right now, what are we doing, Bruce?
Right.
You're showing people who you are at the core. Right. People are learning about you without having to interact with you back and forth. It's going to give them that decision-making power to say, I want to move on the next step with this guy because I can really connect with him. Right. And this is part of showing up to everyone watching and listening is get on podcast shows, get on live shows like this one, and spread yourself everywhere you can, and then learn how to repurpose all of that content. Download it, get a copy of it when you're done. If the recording, and then repurpose it to all the social media platforms. This is where delegation comes in really handy, and you get help. Yes. And so, I'm loving this, Bruce. My gosh.
Even to your point about not being local, I mean, you can join Facebook groups. I mean, there's small business Facebook groups. There's LinkedIn small business groups. You can find online communities as well that you can become a member. Find where your customers are and start adding value in those chats, and answer a few questions, put a question out there. Sometimes just sharing somebody else's post or article goes a long way. I mean, it doesn't have to be a big effort.
Sometimes sharing a failure, and by that I don't mean like a humongous failure, but showing that you are human, showing that transparency, the authenticity. To say, I really messed up. This happened, and I'm learning. And the key is to tell a story, and what's the lesson behind it, and what did you learn from it? Because to be a successful entrepreneur, you're going to make many, 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 many mistakes. Right. If you aren't making many, many, many mistakes, you're probably not a successful entrepreneur. So the good news is you have our permission to make as many mistakes as you possibly can, as fast as you can. The key is to learn from each and every one of them, and then get better from them. And
learn from others' mistakes so you don't have to repeat them.
Exactly. It's like, why did all of us have to go through history in high school, right? It's so hopefully we don't repeat the same blunders that happened back in the past. You said knowing your customers' needs. That's a phenomenal tip, because I recently transitioned out of the fitness industry into a completely different industry, which actually is more my core competency, which was automation, like website automation, software, things that help a business hum. A lot of automation is involved in this show, as Bruce, you are now aware of, being a recipient on a guest speaker side. And the interesting thing was I taught this from stage all the time, speaking from my mentor stage and then my own later, which was, don't try to invent something you think is awesome. Don't say, oh, I've got a great idea, everybody's going to love this, and you haven't proven it yet. You don't know. Or you can just listen to your customer base, and when they start telling you what they want, then that's the thing you need to develop. Whether, you might like, well, that's not as sexy as what I was thinking of. Well, do you want to make money or not?
Right.
And that's what happened with me. I mean, at show after show, Bruce, guest speakers, like we'll do a debrief like I do with every one of them. Mm-hmm. You're no different. And I can't tell you how many said, Brian, how can you show me how to do what you do? They're talking about the show, the automations behind the scenes that people watching and listening aren't privy to at the moment. And enough of them said that. That's when I began to develop a program of my own called Carpet Bomb Marketing. This is not a pitch for it. This is just a lesson to say, listen to the market, give them what they want. Yes. And the interesting thing was I had enough of a sample size that it has become something quite universal, that most people that are ready to do a live show or a podcast or any of those are ready for this, and they want it. And so just listen.
Right.
Unlike the way I'm doing, I'm yakking all the time. want to close the eye hole of the mouth and open the two more powerful parts of your head, which are the ears, and listen to what the market says, and make sure to verify what it is that you are going to, because implementing anything takes time.
Correct.
It's going to take time and money and resources. And if you're spending all that time and money and resources on something people ultimately don't want, then you've wasted all that time. So please be sure to vet what you have, your idea, with a multitude of people. Mm-hmm. All right. What do you think about that, Bruce?
Right on.
I spoke way too long on that one. Let's see. This is one out of a curiosity. I love to ask this question as well. And that is, we get to see Bruce right now in front of a camera for roughly an hour, and we know what you're doing right now because this is live. Mm-hmm. When the camera is shut off, maybe before we got on, and then after it's off, what do you do? What is a typical day in the life of Bruce Bautch? I have one of those deep-seated curiosities. I always wanted to know what my mentor, Mel Cutler, was up to every day. Like, wonder what he and Kate are doing right now. I wonder when they start their work day. I wonder if they're eating somewhere. What are they eating? Are they exercising?
You're right.
All of it. I want to know, because I want to know and model successful people. So for you, Bruce, if you wouldn't mind, would you just kind of outline a typical day in the life of Bruce Bautch from the time you get up till the time your head hits the pillow?
Sure. But my days are a little different because on purpose, I try not to schedule meetings on Mondays. Makes my Sundays so much better when I don't have to go out of the house on Mondays. And I do work out of my home, and I am at my client locations most of the time if they're local. I do have 4 virtual clients now that it's all via web. But my typical days are I get up about 5:30, 6 o'clock. Typically either walk, or I try and get some steps in, about 3,000 steps, whether it's a walk or a run, listen to a podcast. I'm always enrolled in some type of training. Right now I'm doing a 30 marketing day funnel challenge, and I'm learning all about sales funnels. Again, not just for myself, but how I can also use those for my clients and bring that information to them. And so then I basically am prepping to meet with my clients throughout the week. And sometimes I am still doing a little bit of accounting work, not as much as I used to do, but I still do some accounting. So right before this show, I was getting some financial statements ready to review with a client tomorrow. I spend a lot of time reading, a lot of time going through the materials from Brian Tracy, making sure that I am completely fluent in them. I am working on a course, kind of like developing my own little twist to time management using the Brian Tracy Eat That Frog, and then also the First Things First from Stephen Covey, and taking those, making sure that not only are you getting the big things done first, but it's the important things, and making sure that they're matched up with your roles, whether it's the role as a father or parent or a spouse or partner. Making sure that your roles are lined up with your to-do list, and kind of making that to-do list to become a to-be list. So I'm always thinking about, how can I take all this great material that I have from Brian Tracy and still continue to improve it and model it and make it very, very usable for my clients. So I think about my clients all day long. So I know this isn't the greatest answer to your question, but there really isn't a typical day for me, other than I'm pretty much up all the time between 5:30 and 6. In the evenings, I don't watch a lot of TV. I spend more time reading, more time getting ready for that next day. I really enjoy also some fiction reading. So I'm reading some military fiction, which I like. And I also just spend time outside. I live on a small lake here in Wisconsin. So when it's nice outside, I like to be outside gardening, on the water, down by the water, drinking a Miller Lite at night and watching those sunsets. So not a very typical day, but my clients are always at top of mind, as well as my family.
I love it. Thank you so much for being so open and telling us, because that you could tell that's what Bruce does. And I was writing it all down. Some accounting. I love how you said the rules and the to do, rename it to be list.
Yeah.
That's powerful. The reframe.
I heard that from somewhere else, making your to-do list to be your to-be list. And so I'm trying to figure out ways to take some of that traditional time management, where you're looking at to-do lists and calendars and blocking and tackling, and really looking at who does your to-do list affect.
That sounds extremely powerful, extremely powerful. And here's one thing I've noted listening to you throughout this interview, Bruce, is you have chosen a primary mentor by the name of Brian Tracy. And this is so key. I cannot tell folks enough. Mine was and still is Mel Cutler at the moment. He just is a complete package and taught me everything from speaking to business, and doesn't mean I can or will stop learning from other people at all. But the thing is pick somebody that you see that has the results you desire. And so from that, I mean, how many of you have ever had a corporate job? Maybe some of you still do out there watching and listening, and your coworker has the most incredible stock tip ever that has ever crossed, the scrolling ticker tape. You've never seen anything like it. You should get in on this. I'm getting in on it. And then, the thing to do right at that moment is look at them and see, where are they right now? They're sitting next to you in a corporate job with limited income. And should you listen to this incredible tip by somebody who's not a stockbroker?
Right.
And the same holds true with picking a mentor. Is find somebody who's ran the race, and has the experience and has the results as a result of their experience. And that would be someone like Bruce Bautch, definitely. Right. And Brian Tracy, of course. What a great mentor. I mean, when you just outlined the whole FocalPoint system, if that's what it's called, I don't know if it's called a system or program. Coaching program, yes. It's so comprehensive. I'm duly impressed, not surprised because it's Brian Tracy. Right. And it's not difficult. It's just really well documented, well thought out, and fairly simple. But it is so powerful, and he's impacted millions of lives around the globe. So he is a great mentor. Yeah, and we were talking before we came on, and I've seen him speak in person one time, and I was blown away. I've never seen a guy that doesn't move at all on stage. I mean, he plants his feet and he's done moving. The only thing moving in his jaw and his head would move, but no hand movement, no shoulder, no nothing. He was so engaging. It was such a learning moment for me as a speaker. Like, wow, look how he commands the whole audience. Of course, he has the results to back everything that he's talking about, and that helps, of course. Right. But, you learn from every stage, go to events and watch other people that are successful and pick out the habits or the traits that they have from stage. When they're not on stage, what are they talking about? When they're networking with you, how are they asking you questions? Take note of these things, because how do you think they got there? By doing the same exact thing you should be doing, and maybe you are doing already. So I cannot believe, Bruce, man, I'm telling you, this is one of the fastest shows I've ever done that also took an hour. I mean, we're 2 minutes out. So we got a couple of things to take care of here before we go. And if you don't mind, and if viewers don't mind, we might go. Yeah, we're going to go a few minutes over, not too many. Okay. I do want to get back to that prize and show people how to win that. There is one final question I like, and plus your giveaway as well. There is one final question I love to ask each and every one of my past guest experts. I've asked them the same question, and it's a really powerful question. It's short, to the point. And here's the thing. If it takes you a few moments to come up with an answer, no problem. It's okay. Sometimes it takes some thought with past experts. Sometimes it's instant. It's not a contest. It's whatever the answer is, you'll come up with it. Everyone does. But it's a very powerful question because of the answers that come out of it. And before we do that, before we jump into that, I wanted to quickly now give everyone the permission to divert their gaze from the screen for a moment, but just to take out their cell phone. Take out your cell phone. And then what I want you to do is now look back on the screen if you're watching this live. And this is how you enter to win that 5-night vacation stay in a 5-star Mexican resort. So in your message app on your phone, type in the phone number as if you're going to text them. The phone number is 661-535-1624. And then down in the little area where you actually type your message, just type one word. It's PEAK, P-E-A-K. And then click on the little send button, and that will automatically enter you to win a 5-night stay at a 5-star luxury resort in Mexico or another resort of your choosing. And again, real quick, that number to send this to is 661-535-1624. And just type in the word peak in the message area, PEAK, send it off, and we will announce the winner on the appropriate social media channels, and we will get your email address. If you're chosen as a winner, we will text you back and ask for your email address. And all you have to do is give us that, and we will then send you all the wonderful information. Nothing is for sale. Nothing. There is no upsell. There's no side sell. There's no downsell. This is a free gift to you from powertexting.com, our sponsors, Jason Nass and his wonderful partner, Rhonda. Love them dearly. So back to the man of the hour. That is Mr. Bruce Bautch, who's probably going, what the heck is this question? He built it up so high. Now I'm getting nervous because, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Actually, here's the cool thing about it, Bruce. There and stick around for after this question, because Bruce has something for you too. So just a little while longer. But Bruce, the cool thing about this question is there actually is no such thing as a wrong answer.
Well, that's good.
Wrong. So that kind of takes the pressure off a little bit, maybe. But the other part of it is, it's just the opposite is the truth, is that the only correct answer is yours, because it's a personal question. Again, not a deep-seating personal question, but it's personal nonetheless. So with all that build-up and hype, are you ready for the big question there?
I'm ready, Brian.
All right, here we go. Look at him. He's shifting his chair, getting ready. Here we go. Bruce Bautch, how do you define success?
Success. Well, Richard Branson has a quote that goes something like, "Judge my success by the success of my children." And I think that's it. Making sure that I am a role model for my son, making sure that he has the tools he needs and the freedom that he needs to do what he wants to do to make a difference in this world. And I think I'm already the luckiest and most successful person on this earth, because my son, who just turned 18, is amazing. And he has been accepted into the Air Force Academy, which he'll have to report to on June 25th, which is not too far away. So really, it's being that mentor for your children to make sure that they are successful in life.
I have to tell you something, Bruce. I didn't say it before because I didn't want to add to the drama. The cool thing is no two people, I'm blown away, but no two people have answered this question the same way yet.
It's amazing.
And it's over 80. I'm just blown away. And that is, what an amazing answer to be a role model, a good role model, the proper role model. It's, that's powerful. That is amazing. And, to give your son the tools he needs to then be able to make the right choice for himself and give him the freedom to do so.
Mm-hmm.
I can so relate to that. I have two children of my own, adult children. There's 26 and 23. And for me, I didn't know what this whole thing, entrepreneurship, was until I was in my mid to late 40s. It's not been a long time. And once I found out about it, learned about it, I said, my God, this is what I want to do. This is amazing. I love the risk taking. I love everything that goes with it. This is me. That's why I struggled so mightily in the corporate world. Like, don't tell me what to do and when to do it and how to do it. I'm a human being. Anyway. So the thing I set out to do once I learned about it was to do the same thing you just said, was to provide them with the tools to at least let them know it exists. If they decide to go corporate, God bless them. It's fine. If it's their choice, but I want them to know what choices they have that I might not have known when I was growing up. And I'm not looking back and crying over spilt milk at all. My parents were awesome. They did what they knew was best. That's all they knew.
Right.
So, you know what? There's nothing to fault them at. They loved us and did everything they could for us. And so I have no ill feelings of that at all. And I'm just happy that I got the experience I did in corporate that are helping me definitely hugely in the entrepreneur field. So I can really relate to that. Now, before too many people drop off, which they're not, thanks for staying on, everyone. I want to give you the opportunity to offer your amazing free gift. And before I do that, what I'm going to do is pull up your website so we can kind of coach people through how to connect with you in order to win that amazing prize. So let's pull it over there. There we go. And I'm going to actually disappear into the sunset while you describe to people what this amazing gift is and how they can get entered to get a gift from you.
Sure. There's a lot of free tools on my website. There's free ebooks. There's a newsletter. There's blogs. There's all kinds of free tools and tips on the newsletter itself, on the website itself. But really, the big thing is you can book a free coaching call with me. There's a button right underneath my picture there that the mouse is going around. Click on that button. You'll get to my calendar, schedule some time with me, and I'll be glad to spend 60 minutes doing a strategic business review for your business. Or if you're somebody that's not in business and just want a little help with some accountability on your calendar, personal responsibility, time management, I'm more than happy to talk with you as well. You can always send me an email too. It's Bautch at FocalPointCoaching.com.
Bautch at FocalPointMarketing.com.
FocalPointCoaching.com.
Yes, and while I bring other stuff up, Fleming Johnson says, great to see and hear Bruce's conviction about helping his clients. Yes, I couldn't agree more. Thank you for that, Fleming.
Thanks, Fleming.
Yes, I know this name. I just saw him in an email recently. I went on a vacation and I'm still catching up on everything, but thank you, Fleming, for coming on and commenting. Richard Barrier was saying more, goal to speak at Rotary International. Do you have suggestions? Oh, that might be Rotary International. I was in a club in high school that was related to the Rotary Club, but I still don't, to this day, don't know what they're all about. I don't know if you do, Bruce, do you?
No, we have a very active Rotary group here in the local community that I'm in, and it's very, very service oriented, and they're always looking for volunteers. So my suggestion is get involved, get on the boards. They're looking for boards and committee leadership. That's the greatest way to get yourself out there and just be involved.
Fantastic. Thank you, Richard. Once again, Richard is actually a personal friend of mine. I love him dearly. Amazing guy who came up with an amazing app some years ago that helped teenagers specifically more than anybody to keep from texting while driving. Now they're kind of embedded in a lot of apps, but he was one of the what do you call that? Champions of the idea. And it was a life-saving application, and appreciate Richard for doing that.
Yes, thank you.
It's an amazing thing he did. Let's see. There we go. Cool. We did the prize. That's it. Goodbye. I'm kidding. So,
that went by fast.
It did. And literally we could do a second show, a full another hour. So if you're good, let's just keep powering through. I'm kidding. To everyone who has come on to watch us live, so appreciate you on Facebook, on Periscope, on YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn. We're all over the place on purpose so that we can spread the amazing value and wisdom of people like Bruce Bautch. Definitely get in touch with him. In fact, here's that website for reaching out to him again. I would recommend you just go ahead and click on that calendar link and schedule a time with him. You can tell what a hard sell artist this guy is, right? Yes, I'm very sarcastic. He is going to just help you, and you'll find out if you're a fit. And if you're a fit, then you can make that decision to go forward with him. If you're not, then you will have gotten some great value from him, and he will be happy because he helped serve somebody. So it's a win-win.
Yes.
Because that's the way Bruce is. He's just an amazing giving guy. And I appreciate him, number one, for being that kind of person, that example, that role model. You're a great one, Bruce, that others can look up to as well. Not just your son, Bruce, everyone can look up to you and be proud to know you and have made your acquaintance. And so I highly recommend you all go out and connect with him. He has a Facebook page. You see it on the screen, facebook.com, and then BBB.
That's it.
Biz Coach, BIZ Coach. So there's actually 4 B's in there, but just think of BBB Biz Coach. So I'm guessing your middle name starts with a B.
I'm Bruce Bernard.
I love it. That is awesome. B Cubed.
Yes, that was my nickname.
Wow. Oh, cool. I did not know that. That was a total guess. Fantastic. Bruce, once again, I want to say thank you so very, very much. I cannot express in words how much I appreciate you for coming on, spending the time, being flexible with the date, everything that goes with it, for being who you are, and for helping others and having that serving attitude. So really appreciate you being on. And for all of you that came on, I appreciate you. Until next time, this has been the Mind Body Business Show with Bruce Bautch, I'm your host, Brian Kelly, and we will see you all again next time on the Mind Body Business Show. Until then, good night and be blessed, everyone.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you for watching and listening. This has been the Mind Body Business Show with Brian Kelly.